Again, it's Scott McKain with the next in the series of videos of what it takes to get on the A-list in professional speaking, kind of an insider's viewpoint about what you need to know to either move from amateur to part-time or part-time to full-time or get a professional speaking business started, kind of the inside look. And thank you to those of you. So many have written and posted either online or sent me an email or direct message through Twitter, and I really appreciate it. I'm trying to provide some information here that could help you and could give you some insights and help you avoid, frankly, some of the mistakes that I've made in my career. Now, this was based on the blog post that I did of 10 things that you need to know about professional speaking that's on my website, my blog site, createdistinction.com. That's createdistinction.com. So go there for that post. And also, if you haven't seen the 2 videos that I've done previously, you might want to start there to get in the flow of what we're talking about and understand a little bit more about where we're heading. Now, here's the thing, is that the first 2 videos were based on that blog post, but there was one topic that I got a lot of questions about, so I wanted to refer to that. So thanks to all of you. Larry Williams, in fact, was the first one that wrote, but several of you have written with the same question, and that's about, as a professional, where do you get material and how do you develop material? I mentioned it in one of the earlier videos that one of the keys to being a professional is that you've got to have your own material. You can't be out there stealing someone else's material. You can't just be given a book report reciting what someone else thinks or what someone else believes. The real key to get on the A-list is to have your own material and your own perspective, and most importantly, your own signature stories. I really learned a big lesson about this. Most of my life, I grew up in the Crothersville, Indiana, my hometown, Crothersville, Indiana Methodist Church. But for a period of time, I attended the First Baptist Church of Scottsburg, Indiana. It was for a very theological reason. My high school girlfriend was the organist at the church. And so naturally, that's where I had to go to church, right? So, but I was captivated by the minister. His name was Joe Hodge. And I was always so amazed about how Joe, every week, speaking to the same audience, right, the same congregation, the same group, Joe could have these incredibly compelling and powerful and amazing stories. And so I went up to him after church one Sunday and I said, Reverend Hodge, I bet you could see a crack in the sidewalk and make up a story about it or make an entire sermon about, something like that. So I go to church the following Sunday. And he begins by talking about walking down the sidewalk and noticing the cracks on the sidewalk and the games we played as kids about, don't step on a crack, you'll break your mother's back, those kinds of things. And then he said, my realization was that the reason the sidewalk hadn't buckled was because of the faults, the cracks in the sidewalk. And the sidewalks that are broken and chipped and destroyed were the ones that didn't have the cracks, that didn't have the faults. In other words, it was the faults in the sidewalk that allowed it to expand and contract based upon the weather. It was the faults that made the sidewalk whole. And he tied that in by saying many times in our own lives, what do? We try to eliminate our faults or to ignore our faults or to push our faults aside or claim that we don't have them, when instead, if we embrace them and learn from them, they help make us whole. I was blown away, right? I mean, what a great lesson. What a great thing to learn. And so I set a challenge for myself. We'll talk about practice in another video, but I practiced speaking every day in high school. But from that day forward, I set a new practice target, and that was to stand in my room and pick out something in the room and record myself giving a 3-minute speech on something I'd spotted in my room. So I would give a 3-minute speech on a coat hanger. I would give a 3-minute speech on a pair of blue jeans, or just something that would help me think about how would I push myself to create that new material. And it's worked to this day. Now, interestingly enough, I won my first speech contest talking about the key ring principle of leadership, where all of us on a team are like the keys, and the goal of the leader is not to be the biggest key. The goal of the leader is to be the ring that unites all these unique keys that each do individual and special things together. And that was what I won my first speaking contest with, was material that I developed standing in my room, looking down, seeing a keychain. and given a story about it. So my point is that material is everywhere. Stand in your room tonight and pick out something and try to think of a story that you could tell about it. Here's another thing that I advise folks when I'm doing speech coaching is that you need to write an autobiography. Now, not in an arrogant sense, not that, I'm so important, here's the story of my life as told by me, right? That's not what we're trying to do. You will find that there are stories that you develop through your autobiography that you did not recognize the value and importance of those stories. In my book, Create Distinction, I talk about the 2 restaurants in my hometown. Would never have occurred to me to do that unless I had written the autobiography. I start every speech with the story of my hometown and my parents' little grocery store. Never would occur to me that that was an example that every business needs to hear had I not written that autobiography. Now, I'll never publish the autobiography, but it's a gold mine of unique speech material that I can tell better than anybody else. Why? Because it happened to me. You can tell the story of your life better than anybody else because it happened to you. Don't make yourself the hero of your story. Critically important. Unless you've climbed Mount Everest backwards at night, don't make yourself the hero of your own story. The hero of the stories that I tell, Taxi Terry's the hero of the Taxi Terry story, not me. I'm just the passenger. My parents, my dad is the hero of the grocery store story, not me. I'm just there learning. And so as you look at these stories of your life, what are the great lessons that you've learned? Who are the great teachers that you've had? And make those into stories. So the 2 points. Number 1, look around you. It's all around you. Challenge yourself. Practice creating stories on the things that are right in front of you. Second, write your autobiography. Mine the depths of your own experience to create something that's uniquely yours. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the videos. We'll have more for you in a few days. Thank you for your incredible response. Please share these. That's what they're there for. Please share these if you'll like them and like I said, share them. That would be greatly appreciated. Hope you're having a fantastic week. I'll see you soon. This is Scott McKain. Thanks for watching.